Before this video begins, let me be clear that this is a part 2. Go watch part 1 if you haven't yet. Link in the description. Alright then, without further ado, welcome to School Camp! Part 2. You might remember that spectacular cliffhanger in the last video. Unfortunately, the situation wasn't really as dramatic as that, but it wasn't exactly perfect either. I was able to set up my tent, but it turned out that I didn't remember exactly how to set it up, so I kinda only put up half of it. Still worked, it just didn't look very pretty. If you looked at my tent from the outside, it sort of looked like a yellow smashed in tarp thrown over a pipe frame. When the morning came, I went outside to survey how well of a job I did. As I expected, it wasn't good at all. The tents were meant to be hexagon shaped, but I had somehow made a rectangle instead. Also, I placed the door flaps on the wrong sides, which explained the difficulties I was having getting in and out. On top of all that, I had placed the top of my tent inside out. As you can tell, I am an extremely skilled camper. After packing up my camp, I returned to the main area to wait for everyone else to wake up and for the day to begin. The first thing we did was rock climbing. There were 3 walls on offer, one for beginners, one medium, and one for advanced climbers. I've never gone climbing before, so I didn't have much experience. I don't mean to flex, but I managed to scale the medium wall on my first try. You know, just had to say it. Nobody managed to scale the big wall, except one guy who used the other climbing ropes to get up, which is cheating! We started to walk back to the mountain biking track, but along the way, it started raining. You know, the best weather for bike riding. By the time we got to the bike area, it was raining so much that we needed to hide in the bus for a bit while we waited for it to stop raining. There was another class with us at the bike area, so we had some time to share what was happening at our campsites. Then we set off. The ride was pretty normal, just like what you'd expect a normal mountain trail to be like. Except about halfway through, people started bombing out in increasingly spectacular ways. I was near the back, so I would occasionally see a pooped up rider on the side of the road. Then, just as I passed the tree, I heard a massive crash behind me. According to the people behind, someone went over the handlebars and went down hard. Oof. Luckily, I'm an experienced rider, so I only wiped out 3 times. One of them being almost going over the handlebars. That evening, it was my friend's turn to cook, so he made some pretty sick ramen. He had wanted to have a cook-off against our other friend, but he had ended up in a different campsite, so I was requested to tell him that the ramen was good. Well, it was, but you know. After dinner came the long, boring hours before bedtime. There wasn't much to do, but some boys had brought playing cards and were playing poker. They gambled rocks instead of money, and it was pretty funny to watch. Finally, it was time for bed. Since it was the second night, we would sleep in 2-person tents. Actually, I don't know why they were called 2-person, because they were the same tents that we used on solo night. They were just big enough to squeeze 2 people in side by side. I recalled my friend teasing me about snoring while on the bus, so I was interested to see who would be the one to actually snore. He did. Loudly too. Lucky me. The rest of camp was pretty alright. We made a giant pot of beef stew that everyone chipped in to cook, roasted s'mores, played campfire games, and even had a cake brought along by a fellow camper. Overall, I'd say it was pretty fun. I might even say I want to try camping again sometime, as long as you don't make me put up my own tent.